Welcome to the Screen Time Continuum. It is Thursday. We are here bringing you a new episode. We are here to review a new movie. Well, it's not a new movie, but whatever. We'll get to that in a moment. I am here as usual with the fellas. Nick, what's going on, brother? How you feeling?
Hey man, I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Doing well. Can't really complain. I mean, it's past the middle of the week, so we're near the end of the week where it's time to kick off our shoes, relax our feet, and we don't have to party down because it's relax time. But yeah, I'm doing well. Mike,
Good.
how you feeling over there?
Man, I'm over here chilling, having a beer for the birthday.
Hey, that's
Hey,
what I'm
hold
talking
on,
about right there.
hold on, hold on. Yeah, yeah. Where is that? Oh, here we go.
Queued up
Hey,
sound effects.
don't you know?
There you go.
Uh,
Happy birthday,
yes,
man.
indeed.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Oh man, always, always. So we are here at the on the Screen Time Continuum on this wonderful 2023 birthday of the buddy of ours. I know I was trying to go somewhere with it, and at the same time not be too over the top, and it was OD either way. So we're here to review the movie titled The Black Phone. That's right.
Done.
All I know about this movie, The Black Phone, off the top of my head, actually, I'm pretty sure I can give you the whole synopsis off the top of my head. But what I do know about this movie and what brought me to this, oh, wait, before we talk about the movie, Ayla is in the chat. What's up, Ayla? She said, Happy
Mhm.
birthday.
Thank
Yeah.
Happy
you.
birthday.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
Appreciate you.
Oh, yes, indeed. So, The Black Phone, it is starring Ethan Hawke, and he plays a guy that I'm not going to give too much away now. If Henrik, can you hit us with the specifics?
Sure thing. All right. Yeah, this movie came out in, well, it says 2021, but I believe it came out in 2023. It's directed by Scott Derrickson. It's written by Joe Hill, Scott Derrickson, and C. Robert Cargill. And it stars Mason Thames, Madeline McGraw, and Ethan Hawke. And the synopsis for this one is: after being abducted by a child killer and locked in a soundproof basement, a 13-year-old boy starts receiving calls on a disconnected phone from the killer's previous victims. There you go.
Yeah. Um, I thought the synopsis was actually a little longer than that, but that's pretty much all you need to know about this movie. Like, if you saw the trailer for this a few years ago when they first started promoting it, you were reeled in from the first trailer. Uh, After seeing the trailer and then reading what this movie's about, you definitely were hooked if you are into these kind of movies. Or at least that's just my feeling on it. Like this is one of those movies that you saw the trailer one time and it was just embedded in your brain that you had to see it until you were able to see the movie. And then when it came back to you, you like, oh yeah. Um, but hey, fellas, did you guys feel that way? What are our first impressions of this movie, our first thoughts and all those good things?
Mike?
First impression was, man, is everybody messing with kids? Just
Well,
everybody.
remember this is the late 70s. So at that
Right.
time, yes.
Even the
Well,
kids were messing with kids in this movie.
honestly, I don't think it makes a difference in the time because I think it's happening at the same rate. I think with internet and stuff like that, we got more visibility towards it.
Yeah, I
You
get
know
what
what I
you're
mean?
saying. Yeah.
But first impression of the movie though was I actually liked it. I really did. I like the fact that the kid got some. He got some get back. You know, and for me, that's what it was all about. To get back. You put him through some stuff, and guess what? Bing, bing.
Right.
Well,
Mhm.
we'll get into it.
Absolutely.
We'll get into the details, but because I don't want to give it away.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I could share that sentiment that the escalation for the Ferris point was one of my favorite parts of this movie. I also enjoyed this movie. This is the Ethan Hawke performance we were looking for about what, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago with the Moon Knight villain. And I remember Nick, I think you saw this when this first came out way back then, didn't you?
I don't think so. No,
No, okay.
it's the
Or
first
I
time.
I remember when we were reviewing Moon Knight,
Mm,
we referenced this trailer, this movie,
maybe,
and
yeah.
we were saying how this was going to be the performance that we expected him to have in Moon Knight. And in my opinion, we were absolutely correct. Um, I liked this movie. I was tempted to watch this movie again before we shot because I watched it so early in the day. I had time to watch it again.
Right.
Um, but yeah, that's just a factor of having a couple of extra hours available to you, and next thing you know, you realize how much you like something because it comes back to you and you want to revisit it. Cinematography, a couple of the shots I thought could have been better, but nothing about the style choices really made me sad, in my opinion, to this point. But hey, we'll talk about it, and I might remember something that makes me go like, "Oh yeah, that was tragic." But overall, I did enjoy this movie. I'm excited to get into the weeds and the details of this and see what you guys thought about certain things.
You know, I saw that they're thinking about making a sequel. I don't know how, but they're talking about it.
I have a strong idea how, but we'll probably talk about that later.
I just hope it's not some kind of stupid prequel thing.
How did they fit all of those kids in that phone? I'll never know.
Yeah. Movie magic.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this movie isn't bad. I enjoyed it. I think it was decent. I don't know if I liked it as much as you guys did, but I definitely didn't think that it was bad in any respect. I think off of the bat, the sound design was really good. I think that the cinematography choices are fine. There's a little bit of nostalgia there. There's a lot of muted saturation with the colors. High contrast makes it feel a little bit older because we're in the 70s. I think the acting was well done. If I have any critique about it, I think the supernatural elements kind of fall a little bit flat for me. And I'll pinpoint where I think that is later on in the discussion. But not a bad flick, not bad. It's an interesting kind of contained story. It's pretty simple. And I think it's fairly well executed. I would have liked to know a little bit more about certain things, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's why I'm intrigued, because it opened, or it left some questions that I had unresolved. But overall, not bad. Not bad.
Yes, indeed. All right, so let's just go ahead and jump right on in. So this is 1978. We're in North Denver, Colorado. This entire movie takes place in the North Denver area, seemingly in the late 70s, you know. But it begins at a Little League game. We see a pitcher strike out what seems to be the star, or excuse me, attempt to strike out what seems to be the star batter on the other team. He's unsuccessful. And I'm thinking, how is that gonna tie into this movie? Because at first I'm thinking, oh, the batter is the main character, and it's like, no, we were right. I was right. The pitcher's the main character. Huh. What's
His
going
arm
on
is
here?
mint.
His arm is mint, and of course you find out a little later why that was relative, because everything kind of ties in through the process. Trust the process is basically the ode of this movie. If you don't trust the process, you might lose track of this movie and not really get interested. That's something else I want to mention really quick. The details. Every single detail is not necessary in this movie, but every single detail did push the story forward.
Strike
You said
that,
it right.
reverse it. Yeah.
And because of that, that increased the likability of this movie. There's quite often you got so many details where it's like, what was the point of that? But the good portion of every single detail added along the way helped the story a little bit, even if it was only to step across the line versus through a door.
Yeah, I think the movie's relatively tight in that regard. But I think that's also just because the story's super simple.
Yeah.
It's quite a cut and dry. There isn't much like tangential story here going on. It's all about one kid and maybe his sister, if you want to include her in that too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
You
you also have the drunk father who's abusive, and then the mother.
The mother is dead, and the father who beats his children, but then cries at the end and asks for forgiveness for no reason.
That's cliche at this point.
Yeah.
Well, you know what though? You say it's linear, but maybe that simplicity is what makes the movie so good. You don't get lost in the weeds.
No, I know that's what I meant.
That's fair.
Oh,
I meant
okay.
to say that, yeah. Don't get defensive, man. It's your birthday.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to shit on you.
And you know what's something I've noticed with the movie, just based in the like Nick bringing up those details are fair, but if you really consider the track of this movie and the way it goes, you really didn't need to get introduced into a lot of the ancillary characters. You could have just, hey, wait, you notice synopsis, so assume that a lot of bad things have already happened. Now let's jump to this point. But I personally liked a lot of the things that they added. Like the sister story arc was pretty good in my opinion. Maybe a bit over the top, a bit unnecessary, but it added a little bit of excitement. It was a little fun.
Yeah, you know what? I think the sister storyline is fine because she's the closest to what's his name, Finn.
Yeah.
Finn Baker.
I think what I would say is that had they added just a touch more of the detective storyline, that might have been good too. Because I think in this movie you don't really get any of their background or how they're trying to find this person. That you end up not really knowing a lot about the grabber. And I think that the following the detectives a little bit could have given us a little bit more information about the grabber.
But that would probably make it more a detective story if you did that.
Sure, but it is a detective story just without the detectives, because his sister is the detective.
Yeah,
she's
the Oracle.
Yeah,
I think that was part of the point. Is they didn't want to give us too much of that side, not just because of the turn it into a detective story, but I think the message there is that they didn't have, because of the time, you didn't have all of this research and all of the tools that we have today. So we didn't need to know more about the police because we knew that they knew nothing more than what we knew. Actually, we knew they knew less than what we knew.
Right.
I think that's the assumption, is whatever we know as an audience, the police don't even have that much information yet.
Yeah. And that's fine, but there's like 7 missing children in this small town. So
I agree. I had a slight issue with it as well.
I mean, like the brother has more background than the cops do.
Yeah. Hey man, he had some intricate stimulants to.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
That's true. Yes.
He was snowing before the snow hit the ground.
Yeah, he had some assistance in this regard. Yes.
All right. So we find out that Finn's arm is mint, but then we see the guy that hit the ball that he threw, his third pitch, Bruce, riding through the town, and Bruce sees a black van with blue writing. It pulls up on him. And the next thing we see in the morning is Finn sitting at the table eating breakfast with his father, trying not to make loud noises, his sister doing the same. And then they leave for school in the daytime. As they're leaving for school, they see a missing poster or missing flyer for Bruce. And the sister is already like, they're going to find him, but not the way they want to find him, which is kind of the illusion, like, oh, she knows something. But what we really find out is she's clairvoyant. So she sees things, and so did her mother. But and I'll say this now, Papa didn't like that Mom also saw things, and her visions caused her to no longer partake in the friendly parts of life.
She unalived herself.
Well,
you can say that.
But before we even get that deep, no, I guess that's a part of it. Because of that, Dad's ultra depressed and he's a drunken, abusive father or parent. So no matter what, is going on with his kids, it doesn't really translate to him. Like, I don't think he cares through this entire endeavor.
Right.
He doesn't play much of a role except for an antagonist, basically.
Yeah. As they're leaving, they see a fight with older kids. One of the kids was a bully, and in the bathroom, Finn gets caught up by some other kids. They're bullying on him a little bit until the kid who won the two bullies fight comes in and he defends Finn. Come to find out they're friends, and Finn tutors him in math. Now, really quick, what's up with all of these steroid pumping 8-year-olds?
Bruh. Robin had the ground and pound, man. He was scrappy.
Man, straight up. These kids,
what is it with these movies and all these middle school kids is just out here just doing the dirtiest?
Yeah.
Hey man.
I mean, he gets into a fight and they kicking him in the face and kicking kid. Man,
It's
Kicked his
real,
sister in
man.
the face.
Right,
She
yeah,
smashed her kid in the head with a rock.
I
Then
thought
they
she
sit next
brained
to each
him,
other.
dude.
She basically did.
Like I thought that kid died because he was just standing there and just blood gushing down. I was like,
he wasn't standing there. He was sitting down.
sitting.
He was
Yeah, sitting.
leaking.
I just thought it was really iconic, even though we're jumping ahead a little bit, but it doesn't matter. I thought it was iconic of the times and indicative of people in society, how she just domed him with a rock. She gets kicked in the face. She sit next to him. He just kind of glance over at her like, all right, we both out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I saw what happened to you. You got yours. Ain't no point in me getting mad trying to get mine's back. You got it.
And they go to school, and then after school they're all joking and having fun with each other again. Not the kids that they're fighting with, but like the brother and the sister. Like
because they used to getting beat on.
Right.
They used to getting beat by daddy.
That's a lot.
Daddy,
of
stop hitting me, daddy.
You can see the other guy.
You should see that. So the police come to the school and they question Gwen, who's Finn's sister, about a dream she told Bruce's sister she had about Bruce getting taken by a guy in a black hat with black balloons.
Did they mention the black hat?
Black.
It was either black hat or
I know the balloons. She mentioned the balloons in the dream.
Black balloons. Sorry, black van and black balloons.
Yeah.
Let's see. The cops are basically threatening and harassing her, and she, they're like, "Oh, what are you not telling us?" And it's, "My dream sometimes comes true." Either way, it's Friday. Gwen goes to a sleepover, which is what she does every Friday. Finn goes home. Dad's drunk. He falls asleep watching TV and is woken up the next morning because Gwen's getting her ass beat by Dad because the police came to his job and questioned him about his daughter's dreams. Now, excuse me for not understanding. Why are you beating your kid again?
Because she's turning into her mother.
Oh, because I'm like, I know I don't really, there ain't no soft parenting thoughts around this piece. I'm trying to figure out, what did she do to warrant it? You can, if you do it, you do it.
She didn't do anything.
It's like, your dreams are not real. She never said her dreams were real, dopehead.
No, they asked her specifically about her dreams, and she just explained them.
Get mad at the adults who believe
in it.
Get
mad at the detectives. Like, what is this at the episode of South Park where Cartman pretends he has ESP?
Right.
He starts working for the police.
Right. It's like, dude. But so, but yeah, he beats the dog shit out of her. And you are not your mother. You do not see things that are not there. But she do, daddy. Anyway. She never said that, and I have that in my notes that she never said that her dreams were anything more than dreams. But it's later that night that Robin is snatched up and he goes missing, and we saw Robin hit the corner at what looks like an abandoned mall. I wasn't quite sure why he was walking that direction, but that's what we saw, and that's when he disappears.
And then walking straight towards the man in a mask and a top hat next to a black
something
man.
was off about it, but I'm assuming that he found a way to lure the kids. Clearly,
maybe.
Well, he's a magician.
He is a magician.
True. So he just used the idea of being a magician to attract kids. I mean, what 13-year-olds do you know don't like the idea of magic?
I know 8-year-olds
that like the idea of magic.
No, he was not a magician.
No, he wasn't.
The only thing he did that was magical was be a goddamn kidnapper.
Apparently,
he made kids disappear off the street.
Yeah, and spray hairspray in your mouth so that.
Is that what that was?
I have no idea
what that was.
Oh,
yeah.
I assumed it was like helium, so they couldn't breathe, so they passed out.
Or like
I thought it was
something.
I thought it was a Spider-Man Whip It canister that he was spraying, webbing it.
There you go, nitrous oxide. It could be.
That's a whole other terrible idea.
The release thing for it was like this too.
Yeah, guy shooting stuff out his wrist. That's a terrible idea.
Wow. So, the police come and they want to talk to Gwennifer. Sorry, they come and they want to talk to Gwen. I'm sorry, I was being funny earlier, talking about Gwen and Ben. And never mind. Don't worry about old celebrity BS. It's not important. Okay, it's not important. So the police come and they want to talk to Gwen. Dad kind of got his hand on his face. He not understanding. It's the next day that they both get jumped and she get kicked in the face. Um, but here we are. It's been a whole week. It's back to Friday again, and Gwen is off to a sleepover. As Finn's walking home, he sees a black van and he starts to help the guy because he dropped all of his groceries.
Hold on. I think we need to shout out Gwen again for picking up that rock and smacking that dude in the head with
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Shout out to her for being a real one.
Yeah.
Even her friend was like, "Your sister's cool."
Yeah.
Like, your sister is cool. But he goes to help a guy, and then he asks him if he wants to do a magic trick. And I'm like, wow, the 70s. So guys were really just hopping out of vans telling kids you want to do a magic trick. That shit was working.
Stranger danger, man. There was a whole craze. And
where do you think that comes from?
Yeah.
I literally want to pick up my notes and show you the top page of the top of page number 2 says in bold letters, stranger danger. No,
but remember,
question mark.
That didn't become popular until later.
That's true.
Like the 90s, 80s. Probably.
No, 80s.
I would say the mid 80s because that's when I was growing up and they used to say it all the time.
Stranger danger.
Yeah, man.
God damn creepos.
My dad made it seem like I was going to get snatched up in any second at all times.
Oh, you want to get them Skittles? Better be careful.
But still made me go play outside until it got dark.
Like, I bet you wasn't going towards no vans when they said you want some candy.
Nope.
And you wasn't outside by yourself neither.
You didn't. No, I was. You went to mom and dad.
Really?
You went to the ice cream truck.
We had neighborhood kids.
There were some neighborhood kids, but most of the time I was just spending by myself.
I couldn't play with nobody my mama didn't know.
Man, listen, that's the whole thing.
That's fair.
But then again, I'm a whole I'm not gonna say generation away from y'all, but it's definitely a different time period. Am I?
Yeah.
Oh. Fuck you youngins.
You know what, old man?
Get off my lawn.
Get off my stoop.
It's my frisbee now.
Oh yeah, so as he's doing a magic trick, Finn sees the black balloons at the last minute. He goes, "Are those black balloons?" Oh. But Finn is a smart kid, and right here, guys should have known it was bad news. He stabbed him with the Eiffel Tower or whatever, the spaceship that was in his hand.
Yeah, the pin. And
like stabbed the shit out of him.
Yeah, he cut his forearm from the elbow to the wrist almost, it looked like.
Yeah, but well, if that arm, never mind. I was gonna say that's not reading. Yeah, so
don't make it weird.
Yeah,
he's snatching him up and he tells him, I should snap your neck for the way you did my arm. And he's like, I'm sorry. I promise I won't hurt you. No more violence. And he has on a mask that has a smile, which later on turns into a mask with a frown, which later on turns into a frown with no top mask, which later on turns into a top mask with no face, which later on turns into, oh no, don't look at me.
I kind of like that he had different masks though.
I thought that was real serial killer-ish.
Yeah. To be fair, I thought he did a really good job playing a villain.
Yeah.
I thought he did a really good job playing a creepy old weirdo. But to be fair, I thought it was Kevin Bacon at first.
Kind of looked the same. Although he did remind me a little bit of Buffalo Bill meets the Joker meets the guy from the movie Asvins. Do you remember that one, Keelan?
I do remember Asvins.
Yeah, where he's like crazy, so he just giggles at the end of every sentence.
You're a great big fat person.
As we say about the black balloons.
Yeah.
That sounds like Johnny Depp and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Same model.
Yeah, I'm gonna say basically, but more serial killer tendencies.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference?
One subliminally, nobody realized what was going on.
Oh, okay.
And that's in Aspen that I'm playing. So let's see. Yeah, he turns to snap his neck. Oh, he puts him in the basement where the phone is disconnected, and eventually he starts getting phone calls. But we'll get to those. Let's see. Owen's dad gets a call looking for Finn. Oh, Gwen's dad. Sorry. So we saw that the killer had to leave. He tells Finn he has to go take care of some things upstairs. And what we find out is happening is this is when everybody's making those calls around town looking for Finn, and Finn is the new missing kid in the community. Um, and Finn starts to ask questions, and the killer tells him that he's not the one that killed Robin. That was someone else, which makes me start thinking that the killer has DID. But this is the last time in the entire movie that we get any inkling that the killer has any kind of personality disorder.
No, he's just lying to him the entire time.
Yeah.
He likes
Yeah,
to
he's
play
just
mind games
he's-
with the kids.
Exactly. That's all that's going on, which is even sicker than, having an actual mental illness. He's just a freaking murderer.
Basically,
He also tells Finn that he won't do anything Finn won't like.
that I thought was extra
I
weird.
didn't care for that anyway. I thought that
Right.
was filthy.
Because at first I was like, I don't remember him being a filthy, filthy McFilterton. But then he said that, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Do you think
Well-
that they were trying to take it to that route or what?
I think
I think-
they wanted to imply it without saying it.
Right.
I think there
And,
were
I'll say good job.
I think there were a lot of rewrites in this movie.
I think so too.
Could be.
I
There
think
were a lot, they were heading in certain directions and then they would just stop.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really feel it with the supernatural elements, to be honest, because a lot of that feels a little bit tacked on. Like you didn't need to have the phone or the sister with the premonitions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Need it?
Some
No.
things are
Yeah. You could have went the
Or
whole
that-
movie and everything would have turned out exactly the same without that.
Or that weird earthquake that happens inside the basement, whatever that was. There was
I
a
don't even
moment
remember.
where everything starts shaking and, yeah. There's a moment that's very like strange and supernatural, but it doesn't ever happen again. So,
Well, I
And
mean,
then why
it is a
does-
soundproof room, a fully soundproof room.
and why does the grabber hear the phone too?
Oh, he just doesn't believe it's really ringing.
Right.
That's what they
But
said.
I get the question because I was wondering when they said that, does that mean he could hear it upstairs? But it's a soundproof room.
No, he doesn't hear it while it's upstairs. He hears it when it's ringing in general.
Mhm.
Or that's the only thing that would make that make sense.
I think
Yeah.
they only told Finn that so he didn't feel like he was going crazy.
Could be.
Maybe. Yeah.
Could be part of that whole rewrite thing you were talking about.
Yeah.
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 It just doesn't necessarily, it's not 100% clear as to what his relationship to the phone was, why the phone was there. It
Yeah,
seems
because
like
apparently it's a thing.
it's just kind of convenient for the story because it helps the dead kids communicate with Finn.
Right.
Yeah. Well, let's see. So let's go through the reasons or what was communicated to him through the phone. There were 5 different things that were given to him. So the first thing, let's see, the phone rings, and first he's scared, of course, but then he ends up picking it up. And the first thing is he's hinted by Bruce to dig a hole in the floor in the 3rd tile, so he ends up basically digging a pit. Then you had the other kid, I forget his name, I think that was the paper boy, who
Yeah,
told him
Paperboy was
about,
second.
right, who told him about the wire, right? And the wire is how he broke the grate down and also how he made tripwire for later because he was trying to figure out how to open that window because that window is what was making it soundproof. Then he was told about
The wall across the toilet.
no. Then it was
he was told about the lock. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
then he was
lock.
told about the lock and the combination. Then he was told about the wall from across from the toilet. Then, no, before the wall from the toilet, then he was told about not going upstairs and why not to go upstairs.
Mhm.
Right. Because then
Then
you got to
he's
be a
told
naughty
about-
boy.
Yeah, we got to play the game.
Ugh.
And that's how, when I knew, I was like, okay, so we're not tripping. The name of the game that the killer wants him to play is called Naughty Boy, and he's just not a bad kid.
Right.
No, he's just not. He's a. But I mean, it's because he's a wimp and he doesn't want to run. He's too scared to run away. That's the whole story of this movie. It's a long way of him just being a confident kid. Like that's
It's true.
really what it comes down to. Is because Robin tells him, "Man, you need to sack up and do something."
Robin does tell him that at the beginning
So-
of the movie. It's gonna come a day you have to defend yourself.
hmm
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of an extreme situation to defend yourself in.
Right.
But,
So
yeah.
let's see. Yeah, he breaks the window guard. Oh yeah, Gwen sees the outside of the grabber's home from one of her dreams. She goes to her dad, asks her dad if they could talk about her dreams. He don't like it, but he agrees. And that's when he tells her that he's afraid she's gonna end up like her mom if he lets her think that this is real. Um, Next thing that happens is the dad agrees to take Gwen rolling through the city to find this place that she believes she's seen in her dream. They find it, they get there, they're in the right place. Turn out the brother answers the door, and the brother thinks that the killer is out of town. The grabber, he thinks he's out of town. He doesn't even think he's there. He's gone for work. No, he's just harboring kids down there and killing them right under your nose. But you're putting other things up your nose, so there's no way you would smell that. And the police get the gist of that, and they immediately just don't give him any attention. Like, oh, this dude here, he's lit, he's loaded. Let it go.
Personally, I'm gonna pay attention to the cokehead. That's a person of interest when I got any kind of evidence that points in their direction. Because a cokehead could be liable to do anything.
Yeah.
We're not talking about a rich guy.
No. Well, and somebody who has a intricate board of information following all of these missing children.
Right.
I mean, that doesn't raise just the slightest bit of curiosity.
Right.
And then, the detectives see the coke on his table, and he's like, "You might want to clean up before your brother comes home."
I mean,
wait, what?
I don't know what the 70s was like for other folks.
I mean, man.
Hey, I'm saying that was probably a little, you know what I'm saying?
Hey,
look, the officer probably put his finger in that. We didn't even know.
He's just wiping his gums as he walks out.
I got a little piece of chicken stuck back here. But yeah, so they talk to Max. They basically look at Max and they just, Max needs to clean himself up and get fixed a little bit. And we find out that right below Max in the basement is where Finn is, but they don't go check. So that's just another day of Finn still being held captive. The killer brings him Sprite and macaroni and cheese. At first, he ain't gonna take it, but he does end up eating it instead of going up the stairs.
I mean, he's already in the basement, like he said.
Right. Gwen takes a nap and ends up seeing more of the grabber's home. She sees the tree, which helps her again. Let's see. Finn climbs the window guard. Oh, I went backwards. I'm sorry. My bad, fellas. Okay, that's where we were.
Okay, baby.
Let's see. Oh yeah, nothing is going right for the killer at this point. He has an idea. Oh, sorry. Max has an idea of who the killer is, and he's trying to tip off the police, but the police leave because they see his drugs on the table. But right below him is Finn, and Finn is being held captive by the killer, who he comes in with the missing kid's name, and he was asking Finn what his real name was. And if Finn had told him his real name, he basically alluded to possibly he would have let him go. But instead, when he steps into the light, he has on a frowny face and he's not happy. And he tells Finn he almost let him go. But either way, I don't think he was going to let him go for real.
No.
Yeah, I don't think so at all. The killer's waiting upstairs to beat Finn if he comes up the stairs, but Finn never comes up the stairs. He just stays downstairs. But he's ended up being awoken by a blood ghost, or by blood dripping from a ghost who's like being suspended in the middle of the room. And that ghost tells Finn that if he can get up now, the killer is asleep and he should be able to creep past him and get to the door, which he does, except the dog ends up barking and setting off basically the alarm. And that wakes up the killer. Finn gets outside, he runs, but the killer's already in his van chasing him down, catches him, punches him. This is one of those moments that I was like, no.
Nah, that's
nobody heard anything. You wasn't screaming to bloody murder.
You didn't zigzag. You didn't turn. You didn't double back as soon as the van stopped in front of you and just run the other direction.
None of that.
No. Come on, kid. Do you really want to survive? Jeez.
Some people are just perfect victims, I think.
Yeah. He still didn't have his confidence yet. He needed to go back into the dungeon for a little while longer.
Just a little bit longer.
Yeah.
He almost there. He's a stewing. It's a stewing. So let's see. Oh, because they didn't find Finn, the next morning Gwen is disappointed with Jesus and she starts to lose her faith, even cursing the Lord. I mean, hey, am I wrong? Isn't that what happened?
No, that's accurate.
Mhm.
Right.
She gave Jesus an earful.
She sure enough did it. Finn wakes up and reluctantly answers the phone after being caught and beat up. And at this point, it's Vance Harper, who used to be his bully, and he's telling them that it's his day, it's his time, time is up. We get a flashback of Vance, and in that flashback, we see Gwen walk through that flashback, and we also see Vance carve 7741 into another kid's arm, which is the address of the killer's home. At first I thought that Vance might have lived there, like he might have been his kid or his nephew or something like that. But turned out that was just them trying to tip her off.
So is that are we suggesting that all of those dead kids are living in like some type of temporal loop?
Possibly, because that's kind of way they make it seem.
Because he's yelling at Finn while he's in the cop car as if he's on the phone with him.
While Finn's on the phone with him.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if those kids are reliving like the last day of their life over and over again.
Well, I don't think the cops really dropped him off at the killer's house, so I can't say that.
Who knows?
I was really curious about how that. I mean, but that's what made me curious as to what was the relationship between Vance and the killer, because if they just dropped him off there, maybe that's his house, maybe that's his family.
Or the cops were in on it and just getting rid of it.
Or the cops were in on it. Yeah.
Damn.
That's kind of the impression I got. You know,
that's possible. That's possible. So let's see. Vance, yeah. Oh, yeah. So Vance tells Finn about breaking through the wall and getting to the freezer in the storage room. He does all of that, ends up taking the toilet apart to get a washer out of the drain, uses that to unscrew the back of the freezer, climbs into the freezer, but the freezer is latched closed and he cannot open it from the inside. That was crazy. Like, okay, that's what we're doing. Phone rings again, and this time it's Robin telling Finn to fill the phone with dirt, make it heavy, and then you're gonna practice this prison style shank move that I learned watching Shawshank.
Right.
And yeah, that's where it goes. So at this point, you now have Gwen rolling through the rain looking for her 7741 address, and the dead boys appear in front of her, stopping her, causing her to fall right in front of the killer's house. And this is exactly where she needs to be, because this is exactly where her brother is. She calls the police, rushes home to call the police, and Max, while snorting cocaine, is staring at his board, and he looks up and he comes to terms that, oh shoot, we live right in this hot zone that I figured out.
Yep.
And I haven't checked the basement. And my brother, let me go check this basement.
My brother's very strange, and he only goes down to the basement himself. He won't let me in it, and they have a weird killer dog that also is taken down to the basement from time to time.
From time to time.
Yeah.
So what does he do? He goes downstairs. He ends up finding little Finney, and that doesn't go well. Because as soon as he finds little Finn, his brother finds him and chops his head open with an axe.
That's an understatement.
Right.
Look what you made me do.
The grabber, right, in a psychotic moment, blames Finn, and that's when we realize, oh no, Finn, you're gonna have to use everything you've been taught to this point. He goes upstairs. He gets his big burly dog that looks like it can eat a whole human,
or a small kid.
Or a small kid, chains it to the post right next to the door so that Finn can escape, and swings the axe, starts trying to kill Finn. Finn eventually tricks him into all the traps, takes him down. He ends up winning the fight, killing the grabber.
We got the cousin of Quicksand in this one, which is the Ponji Pit. Because that's what immobilizes the grabber, as he walks him through that hole that he dug, and
Yeah.
then that
Oh
he
yeah, and that
breaks
grate
his
is at the
leg.
bottom.
Yep, and he
Yeah.
breaks his leg on the grate. So almost
I
quicksand.
thought that was clever
almost.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought
And then,
that was clever too.
and then he
So
just
yeah, he
wails
chokes him
on
to
him
death.
with a phone and then chokes him. Yeah.
Yeah, beats him with the
Oh man,
phone
that
and
was some
chokes him with
good
the
get
cord.
back.
And you
So
know
Finn
why?
ends up
Because
what,
Finn's arm is mint.
Right.
arm is mint. Get him, and that's why I was like, so shouldn't Finn have been throwing something at him? Like his arm is mint.
Bam. Oh yeah.
He,
Yep.
he still used his arm.
He did. This is facts, actual factuals. So Finn does kill the killer, and everybody there, the police are raiding into 7741. It's totally vacant. It's totally empty. They go downstairs. There's nobody in the basement after they find that because they almost gave up the search. But as they're doing that, Finn remembers the combination and has already killed the killer and fed the big Cujo dog a piece of steak. So he walks out calmly and he spins the lock, gets the combination correct, and he exits.
Because
And who does he see? He sees Gwen.
Because of course he would use the same lock that he was already able to figure out the combination to.
Yeah.
Just saying.
That is interesting, yeah. But
Yeah, I don't know how the grabber wasn't known by the people in the town.
I mean,
Right.
clearly the weirdest person in the community.
With a big black van in his driveway. I mean,
Right.
the van is just right there.
Right.
It's not even hidden.
No,
It's right
that's
in
what
the
I'm
open. He don't even
saying.
have a garage. It's a carport.
This movie treats the police as an afterthought, and I think it's kind of gets funnier and funnier the more you think about it, because there's like there is no police work going on here at all.
No.
Well, I mean, he would have got away with it if it wasn't for those meddling kids.
Those
If
meddling
it wasn't for the psychic 12-year-old that knew where her brother was, that
Right.
the police called for a tip.
Right.
They call it the Gwen hotline. Miss
Yeah.
Cleo who?
But we're completely oblivious to the obvious abuse.
Yes. Oh, yes. Of course, oblivious to that, and
Well,
also
it was
oblivious
the
to the
time.
guy. Oblivious to the guy that always buys a whole bunch of black balloons at the local hardware shop or whatever, and
Right.
drives a
Nobody's
black
on
van.
alert for that.
No, of course not.
There's no Amazon. Where is he getting these balloons from?
Right.
He stored them, and then
Yeah.
he stole some helium tanks.
There you go. There you go.
Because nobody buys helium tanks.
Nah. What you throwing a kids party?
Yes. Every other week, I'm throwing a kids party.
Pretty much.
Well,
Yeah.
no, in the 70s, that could have been possible. However, because remember, Gacy used to do that in a clown mask.
That's true. That's true. I
That's
guess they
crazy.
should have probably developed him being an actual magician and not just being full of it, because that would have given some cover. Unless, did you read the what was written on his van? Maybe he is like a
Abracadabra or something. I couldn't really make it out.
Okay, yeah. So maybe he's just like a kid's magician.
Well, whatever that is, because if you're good, you're good.
And you would be known by everybody in the town.
That's right.
And
Kids magician. Sounds like a fake.
I'm not allowed to use those words on the YouTube streets.
So the police find the bodies of the other kids in the abandoned house and across the street where Finn walked out. They go, Finn tells them the basement. They go down there and find the killer and everything. Seemingly hours later, Dad arrives on scene crying, telling his kids he's sorry. He apologizing. And it's like, buddy, why is he even in this scene? Like, just let it go.
It's too late to apologize.
Right. Later that night, we see the news coverage of everything going down and of the police talking to the reporter. And the next day, Finn goes to school and everything is not only okay, it's great because he is now the man because he killed
a grown man and the grabber.
Yeah, I had to think, like, what is the name of this killer? But yeah, he did his job, man. Finn is the new detective. He's the new 007.
Well, he doesn't go by Finney anymore now. He's just Finn.
That's right.
Finn. Shake it, not stud.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm a whole grown man now.
Oh, and he tells the girl not to call him Finney. His name's Finn. Finn, baby.
That's right.
Yep. Okay. Well,
That's it. Sorry,
that's
sorry. I
it.
got mouth got real dry trying to finish that run right there. But yeah,
Mhm.
no, that's it. That's where the movie ends. Is he goes back to school. His friend, she recognizes that he's a new man, and she's like, "Hey, Finn," and he's no, "Hey, Finny," and he's like, "It's Finn. Back up, girl.
Mhm.
Breathe."
Give me some
He hit him with the
space.
right. He goes, "Saturday," just told her about herself.
Sarate on the gunny side.
But yeah, yeah. I have nothing else to add about the Black Phone movie. That is the end of the Black Phone movie. We can get into our final thoughts and things that stood out the page, if there's any.
Nah.
I'll go first, indeed. And yeah, I agree, Nick. There's not much to add. We've talked about it. There were a few things, like I said, that while you're watching the movie, you'll go, "Huh? Okay, whatever." Like, I'm not sure why y'all took that choice. But none of them changed the movie. None of them dragged the movie down or affect my score. I like this. I do plan on watching this again. I plan on possibly watching it in a group for feedback purposes. Um, Good job. Yeah. Can it be better? Yes. Am I mad at the result? Clearly not, because I just said I'd watch it again. I don't know how else to say that. But
Right.
yeah, I like this movie. It's cool, but it didn't wow me either. So I want to make sure I make that clear. So I'm gonna give this a 5-5.
Wow.
That's too high.
For sure.
No.
Way too high. No. It's funny because I'm gonna give it a 6. So
That's funny.
That is funny.
I didn't think it was a bad movie. I think it's serviceable. It's short enough to be, fine, and it's kind of interesting enough to rewatch, like Keelan said. I would have preferred to know a little bit more about the killer. I would have preferred maybe to be I don't know the supernatural elements. I know that they're sort of integral into the story how it is, so I don't think that you could really change them. But I just also don't think that they were anything that was too compelling to the story, because the most compelling part of the story is, who is this serial killer? What's sort of his motivation, and how is this kid going to get out? And so I don't think that the supernatural stuff did a whole lot of service to that, except for having the haunted phone teach him how to escape. But I mean, that's shaky too, because even they, say in the movie that he was the only one that could hear the phone. So all those other kids died without hearing the phone.
They weren't special.
Right. So
Remember,
then it
his mom had the special ability, so maybe it kind of bled into him.
Right. Yeah.
They were all touched. Not by an angel, though.
No.
Never mind.
Grab her. Yeah.
So I wasn't gonna say it.
Yeah, I think it's a 6. It's not bad at all. It's a pretty good movie. It's not long, and yeah, it's pretty interesting.
All right. And for me, it was a 6 until I realized that the killer had no interactions with the adults in the entire movie. Not even like in the hardware store.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't even realize that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, my review, I gave it a 6 as well. Not the greatest movie, but definitely a good movie. And I already have recommended it to a couple of people. Because when I watched it, I was like, man, this is pretty good. I think other people would enjoy this one. I'm not saying it's a stellar movie, but I thought Kevin Bacon did a great job playing the bad guy. I mean, sorry, Ethan Hunt. They all look like They're both.
They don't all look alike, man. Come on.
Hey, you knock it off.
No, I know, but I definitely kept thinking that was Kevin Bacon. He just looked like him for me in this movie.
He does. Definitely.
I actually had to check the cast because I wasn't even sure, to be honest about it. But I thought he played a great villain. He was creepy. They never let it go too far, which I appreciate because there's no need for those extras. I thought Finn was kind of a. I mean,
Soft.
yeah, there you go, perfect. He was too soft for that time period because even in the 70s, at some point you're gonna stand up for yourself. I don't know, especially when kid that's getting beat at home. They tend to be the roughest ones because if I can take it from my daddy beating on me, man, you ain't nobody.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, he
that's
does
just from
stand up
my
for himself, and he kills a serial killer. So there you go.
right.
Yeah.
It just took him too long to get there.
It did take him
2
long.
hours.
And probably too much for him to get to that point.
Right. So I enjoyed the movie though. So solid 6 for me.
6.
Sounds good.
Indeed. It was like a 5.9.
Yeah, about a 5.9. We'll call it that. Good. Sounds good, gents. Are we all good? We're
Yes,
good.
indeed.
Everything's good. All right, I'm playing the
Yes,
outro
indeed.
music right now.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. That is our review. We end at a 5.9 for The Black Phone. The Black Phone, again, is currently showing on Peacock, which is where we watched it. You can go ahead and check that out over there. Decent flick. Definitely worth checking out, worth sharing, worth, it's that time of the year where people tend to hang out a little bit. Holidays and all that are coming up. So maybe throw this on in the background. You guys can sit down, have a couple of aha shock moments, and maybe even laugh together. And after you do that, also listen to this review together because, hey, we suggested the family night. So might as well just go ahead and share this episode with the movie. We appreciate you guys for tuning in to the Screen Time Continuum. By all means, don't forget to check out all of our other shows that are riddled through the week for you. We are going to be here for you. Just type it on in on your platforms, wherever it is that you are. If you're on Twitch, you can go to Strawberries and Coffee and King_of_Ilion. That's where Dejan and Mike will be playing their games. For YouTube and Facebook, you can head on over and get If Numbers Could Talk, Screen Time Continuum, the Exo Fathom, which is also available on Rumble, and This Married Moment, which is also available on Spotify. After you do that, tell another friend, a friend that you haven't already told. Tell somebody you love them. How about that? That's something we would like you to do while you're liking, sharing, and subscribing to our pages and our different shows and all the entertainment that we try to bring you guys on a regular basis.
Absolutely.
For the Screen Time Continuum, this has been a marvelous review of the movie Black Phone, and my name is Keelan.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Mike.
And I might just say thank you guys.
Like and subscribe.
Oh, that's a shocking face. Like and subscribe.
He never
Share.
looked like that though.
Only the once.
Did he?
Well, he had a couple
Probably
of different masks.
Yeah, probably not.
How do you fit the mask in the top?